First off, thank you for all the support on the videos. Thank you for the support on the Call of Duty series, and thank you for the support of us slowly starting to turn the tide and maybe starting to catch a little bit of momentum on the way to 3 million subscribers. What's up, everybody? Chaos here. Welcome to the best series. So, the COD History series has sub-series built within it. It's so many layers. It's like an onion, and you peel back layer after layer. And if you've been around the channel for a long time, you're probably pretty familiar with some of these layers. And today, well, Call of Duty is a game all about unlocking stuff and grinding XP. Constantly getting those new weapons and gear to mess around with. Sometimes, though, Call of Duty, they slip up. They give you the best gun in the game right out of the gate. Today, we're going back to COD History, freshly revived for 2024. Today, we're going to go over the 10 best level 1 guns in COD History. We're going to take that trip down memory lane, and we're going to look at some ridiculous default unlocks in COD History. So let me know in the comments which of these you use the most. Drop a like, make sure you subscribe with those notifications turned on, fully on, ring that bell, all that good stuff. And at number 10, the KN-44 in Black Ops 3. Now, BO3 is one of the best Call of Duty multiplayer experiences ever released. It is. And the KN-44 was a great way to level up very quickly. It was a futuristic interpretation of the AK-47. Had some pretty sweet attributes. The fire rate was moderate, the recoil was a bit bouncy, but those iron sights were clean and the damage per shot was amazing. It dealt 40 damage up close and 29 at max. This meant the KN-44 would always kill in 3 bullets, no matter how far away the target was or what attachments you were running. That level of consistency made the KN-44 an extremely appealing weapon for basically any player, new or old. You could rush around with it, you could use it as a close-range killer, you could throw an optic, a foregrip, tag people from a distance. It was awesome. Did I mention? It has one of the best reload animations in the entire game. Easily one of the best level 1 guns in COD history. Let me take you back really quick. Let's reminisce. I remember, I think we were playing in a pre-alpha stage at the bunker at Treyarch, and we were playing Black Ops 3, and I'm pretty sure this gun was called the Arc. Maybe, I don't know. You guys let me know. Didn't it have a different name before it turned into the KN-44? At number 9, dear to my heart, the Enfield in Black Ops. Speaking of consistent guns, it's one that I always felt was slept on, but it had a lot of the same positive traits as the gun we just talked about. The Enfield had a respectable rate of fire. It had that bouncy recoil, but in return, you got clean iron sights and a very consistent damage output that would always kill in 3 to 4 bullets. As soon as you unlock custom classes, you would be handed the Enfield rifle. I used this thing long into the progression of Black Ops 1 multiplayer. In terms of DPS, it was actually on par with the AK-47 and the Galil. But a lot of people chose those guns instead because they have more comfortable recoil patterns or cleaner iron sights. Well, I don't think the Galil had a more comfortable recoil pattern, but anyway, I mean, I get the argument. I do. But the Enfield was a great gun for leveling up quickly, and its versatility would keep up with the rest of the people. It would. Even if you didn't like it, it would. I know it was ugly, but it was good. I promise. At number 8, the PPSH-41 in COD World War II. Now, I had my gripes with Call of Duty World War II, but if I remember anything about the game, it was the fact that the PPSH was everywhere, especially in the competitive scene. But did you guys remember that it was actually a default unlock in the game? When you started up COD World War II, you had a handful of weapons to choose from, and you could use your starting unlock tokens, basically the Call of Duty equivalent of choosing your starting Pokemon. And one of those options was this beauty. It had amazing handling, had a really good time to kill, and it had a pretty ridiculous range for an SMG, and it made it a competitive weapon of choice for the entirety of COD World War II's life cycle. It was fantastic for leveling up quickly, and I think it definitely deserves a shout on today's list. At number 7, the ICR-7 in Black Ops 4. Now, the ICR-1 was a laser beam assault rifle in Black Ops 3. But when BO4 rolled around, Treyarch gave us an updated version called the ICR-7. Arguably, even better. In fact, it was arguably one of the best guns in the game, especially for quick leveling. It had a moderate rate of fire, had an average damage per bullet, but the appeal, it was its accuracy. It was one of the most accurate guns in COD history, and if you threw on the 2 grip attachments, there was no recoil, 0 recoil. You could laser people from across the map, and even out-snipe the snipers at times. Now, the ICR-7 may not have been a top-tier gun in Black Ops 4 due to some of the late-game unlocks. You had the Maddox rifle and the SOG SMG, but it was a high-tier weapon. And since it was literally your starting AR, here it is. At number 6, The M16A4 in Call of Duty 4. Let's go back. I have one question for you. Who tested COD 4? Who used the M16 and then said, yup, this should be a default gun? Not only was the M16 a default unlock in COD 4, but it was also part of a default class with a grenade launcher attached to it. Yeah, the M16 was a laser beam. Ridiculous damage. I mean, it was able to kill somebody up close with 2 bullets and across the map with 3. Laser-like accuracy, insane damage per shot. It was widely considered to be the best gun in the game, and since you had a grenade launcher right when you turned the game on, you can probably guess just how much this weapon was spammed in COD 4 and Modern Warfare Remastered. If you were trying to level up as quickly as you could, this was the way. Now we crack into the top 5 today. The NV4 in Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare got a lot of heat when it was announced, and then it got a lot of additional heat when it launched. I've said several times recently, I think this game may have been judged a bit too harshly, but the multiplayer didn't really make the best first impression, especially since the best gun in the game was your starting AR. The MV4 was a futuristic version of the M4 rifle, undeniably the best gun in Infinite Warfare's multiplayer roster, even featured a ton of variants that could make it even better. Now, it was extremely accurate, had really good ammo capacity, had really clean iron sights, no recoil, and a very respectable time to kill. The versatility, that was the strength, and it filled basically every role in the game better than the other weapons did. It was easily the most popular gun in Infinite Warfare, and since Infinity Ward put it in your hands when you turned on the game, I don't know why I pronunciated it like that, but I did. The community quickly turned it into one of the biggest punching bags for the game as a whole. So even though Infinite Warfare was judged a bit too harshly in my opinion, the MV4 criticism was 100% valid because this thing was way too good. At number 4 today, the MP5, you knew it was coming in Black Ops Cold War. Now the MP5 has been really good in the last few Call of Duty games, and that includes Cold War, but at least most recent COD games don't just hand you the gun when the game starts. Treyarch didn't believe in this practice, though, and they put this godly MP5 in your pocket right when you turned on Black Ops Cold War's multiplayer. First time, and it led to some of the most insane MP5 spam I've ever seen, possibly even worse than the Modern Warfare 2019 MP5 spam. Also takes me back to the MP40 spam from World at War. It may have been worse than that. The Cold War MP5 bounced a decent amount, but it had insane base damage, and that time to kill was really good. It was helpful to have in a game like this where the health pools were larger and you had to stay on target a bit longer to drop somebody. Now, it did have to be adjusted several times throughout Black Ops Cold War's life, and it's still a high-tier weapon to this day. I think it's deserving of a spot on the list. It was insane when the game first came out, and even after all the nerfs, it's still intimidating. But there was actually another starting weapon in the game that was even better. It was even more spammed. Do you guys remember which one it is? I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1... At number 3, the XM4 in Black Ops Cold War. It was unlocked by default in Black Ops Cold War, and many people called it the best gun in the game because of the versatility alone. It was a prototype M4 rifle, featured a decent rate of fire, very respectable damage per shot, super low recoil, super clean iron sights, and a ridiculous list of attachments for you to unlock and make it excel basically in any role. You could make it a long-range beast. You could make it a close-range monster. You could make it a stealthy surprise, and it would be great for all of those things. The XM4 was amazing, even after Treyarch nerfed it a few times. And if you're picking up Black Ops Cold War for the first time in 2024, you're probably going to be using the XM4 if you're trying to level up as quickly as you can. I mean, I don't know what it is with the M4 type rifles being top tier in basically every Call of Duty game, but they are. Back in the Golden Age, the M4 was usually a mid or high tier weapon, not top tier. Now, seems like every new version of the M4 ends up being one of the best guns in the game. I'm not sure why the trend kicked off, but it is definitely here. At number 2, the BAL-27 in Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare was the first Call of Duty game to be fully developed by Sledgehammer, and while they did a lot of things right, they got a lot of people pissed off with the weapon balance. The BAL was your starting assault rifle in Advanced Warfare, and to this day, it's just dumb. Not only was it extremely easy to use, it also had one of the best TTKs in the entire game from basically any range on the map, and it had a laundry list of variants for you to unlock and dominate the competition even harder. The BAL was overpowered on its own, but when you added variants like the Obsidian Steed, the Inferno to the mix, the community quickly grew hostile with the developers for letting it remain OP for as long as it did. And like I said, this thing was never patched. I know, Sledgehammer made a couple tweaks to it, but they never actually knocked the BAL out of its top dog spot on the tier list, and since it was unlocked right away, it gets the number 2 spot on today's list. There's a reason they called it BAL of Duty. And guess what? Number 1, It's also going to go to a gun from Sledgehammer Games. I'll give you guys 5 seconds this time to guess what it is. 5, 4, 3, 2, ad number 1, the STG-44 in Vanguard. I have no clue what Sledgehammer was thinking on this. It was completely overpowered when Vanguard came out, largely because of the fact that Sledgehammer reworked the gunsmith to allow for 10 attachments on a single weapon, and there was some just insane builds you could make with this gun. They were utterly impossible to counter on the battlefield. There were builds that would kill people almost instantly, and if you weren't using one of the broken builds, the STG-44 had its own, on its own. Not had its own, on its own. It had some of the best base stats in the entire game. It took Sledgehammer forever to patch the most broken builds of this. But even after they were done updating Vanguard, it remained top tier. And if you ask me, I think it's the most dominant starting weapon in any Call of Duty game to this date so far. May be a bit of a surprising pick because a lot of people just skipped over Vanguard or quit it early. But if you actually stuck with the game, you're probably nodding your head in agreement with me on this one. The STG-44 was broken when the game came out, and even after Sledgehammer patched it 1,000,000 times, it remained the best starting weapon in COD history. There you have it, my friends. Those are the best level 1 guns in Call of Duty. Those guns, they basically handed you the keys to the Ferrari. It was fully gassed up, and you took off. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon.